Hey everybody.
Hey, Mark.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Happy to be here.
Glad to have you. Give me a second. I'm just admitting a couple people in. A small group tonight. We got 10 people, nice intimate group, which I love.
And down here. And I just
And
Where do you want Hi, Mark. Over here.
Hi, how are you? Hey Terry. Hey guys.
Our camera is not on. Oh, our audio is on.
Yeah, it's a small group, so we're pretty intimate at this point. Everybody here knows each other, so mute your mics if you want, unmute your mics, turn your cameras on, whatever you want.
I was talking to a trainer at the gym.
No, let me mute us.
And I might
Okay. Somebody's training.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hey.
So, give you a minute to get settled. You may notice that I am in a different location today. I am actually broadcasting from my friend Justin's house because we got hit by the storms pretty bad over here on the East Coast. So we've been without power for about 4 days at home now.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we got walloped. I live in a pretty heavily wooded development, and it only took 15 minutes, and that storm blew through, and trees were down all over. For some reason, red oaks really seem to bear the brunt of it this time, and the red oaks are big and they're heavy, and they took down power lines all over our township, and most of the township has been without power for about 4 days now. So that's all just starting to come back online. They're telling us we're going to get ours back by about 11 o'clock tonight, but they said that last night too. Yeah. So, I applaud them. Pico, Pennsylvania Energy Company here in my area where I live, they're, a lot of people love them or hate them, but they're working hard and they're working diligently. I mean, those guys are out there in the pouring rain. They're out there in the dark, putting the lines back up. And from what I understand, they were so understaffed. I think we had 275,000 people out of power up here in Pennsylvania. So, yeah, they actually had people come up from the south. So they have linemen up here from Tennessee, Arkansas, Florida. So, yeah, it's all hands on deck right now. How are you guys doing? Has anybody else in the group been affected by these storms, by the weather? No, good.
This time around.
Yeah, we I've been in my neighborhood now for 22 years, and I can't deny that the weather has changed over these past couple of years. It's getting worse and worse. A couple of years ago, we had some pretty bad hail fall and destroy all of our cars and all of our roofs on our houses. Last year, I lost a huge red oak to a storm in January, and then this year. So yeah, it just seems to be getting worse. So if you're still skeptical of climate change, I can vouch that it's real. Cool. Well, I'm so glad that you could all join me here today. We talked about this before in prior tastings. Somebody's having fun. Let me open the chat here too, because sometimes I forget that. Ben is saying you have heat indexes in the low 100s and wind gusts 25 to 35. Yeah. So you're in Iowa. You're not too far from us. We're going to be. We're supposed to be hitting 108 tomorrow with the heat index here in the greater Philadelphia region. So, yeah, stay cool, Ben.
Yeah.
When we're out in Wisconsin fishing.
Oh yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. So we've talked about this in prior tastings, and I promised that I wanted to take you to some new regions. And when we were working with WTSO, for as good as they were, they have their their checks and balances, but they didn't offer a lot of unique regions, wine regions, and I wanted to take us somewhere different. I wanted to explore some other parts of the world. So thank you for sitting tight with me and working through this. This has been a little bit of a process. I know some of you had issues getting the wines. Apparently, wine.com has different warehouses across the country, and they carry different inventory in each one of them. So I think if they're, the group is partially, one of the reasons why the group is smaller tonight is probably because certain states couldn't get these wines. Do you guys, how was the process for you guys? Can you share with me? Was it hard? Did you have any problems? Was it relatively seamless?
Carolina. Yeah, I got the wines in like 2-3 days, Mark, in North Carolina.
Okay, cool. So North Carolina is good. Did you get the ones that I originally designated, or did you have to get alternate ones?
Yes, I'd actually already ordered them because you sent out the fear of God before you sent out the alternates. So I think I actually had them before you even sent the alternates.
Yeah. I just wanted my floor.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure everybody got them because we're kind of switching things up here a little bit. We will probably in the future, we may go back to WTSO from time to time. I don't want to go into too much detail. You guys by now probably picked up on the fact that I've had some, there was a little bit of a falling out with WTSO. Nothing that I had done, at least not to my understanding anyway, but it was never really explained to me. They just kind of severed the relationship and stopped talking to me. So I'm not really sure what happened there. And that was after 5 years of working with those guys. So, we had an election in November, and there was a possibility that the economy was going to change and things might be tightening. The belt was going to be tightened this year. So I don't know if they were looking at their budget.
Yeah, Miss West. You lost power for like 3 days.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Apparently, a lot of people had trouble getting the wine.
Oh,
What are you
really?
talking about?
Okay. Well,
Okay.
I see some people drinking already.
we got
Yeah.
some.
Yeah, Mark, I will say that the whole friction was odd from a user standpoint. It just seemed odd from the get-go or from when it started going south.
Could you can you elaborate on that a little bit?
It was like WTSO didn't. I mean, they could have explained anything any way they wanted, but they were just deadly silent, and things kind of like you described, just kind of fell off the face of the earth, and it was almost like it ceased to exist.
Yeah, I think people were picking up on that. It was really uncomfortable for me. I was trying to toe the line because I've had a working relationship with them for 5 years, and they literally just stopped talking to me. They told me in November last year that we were going to end the Premium Wine Club, and they kind of left it to me to explain it to all of you guys. So yeah, if you sensed some uncomfortableness there, that was I was trying my best to be a diplomat and also not burn any bridges there. But they're good for their wines. They're good for the shipping and everything like that. So we may use them in the future. I don't want to get too deeply into it or speak too badly about them, but I would like to move forward, and hopefully we can do it with wine.com. If you have any other suggestions on making this more seamless and other resources that we could use for wine, I'm open to that as well too.
We were able to get the original wines, real easily. But we're in New Mexico, and
Well,
their headquarters is San Francisco. So
yeah, I think we have one new group, new members joining us from a different market today. Somebody's in Des Moines, I think. Is that you guys? Lestros, are you guys in Des Moines?
No, this is actually Derek Ryder. You guys
Yeah.
see messages a lot, but it's my Zoom profile. We're just in Lidditz.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But
I could share.
yeah, I know Derek's close by. I just I didn't recognize the name on the screen there. Okay, yeah. So anyway, the hope for doing these on Sunday was to try to get more people in from the West Coast. So I think we have somebody in from Utah, maybe? Somebody in the group? No? All right.
Yeah, Mark,
anyway. Yeah.
From my perspective, I'm kind of liking this. This is the first time it's been like not too logistically challenged. I tried one from everything you recommended. I've got stuff to go with the wine, where a lot of times I would just scramble them and drink the wine and then maybe make something the next day. So I like the Sunday afternoon so far.
Okay, well, that's good news. Thank you for the feedback. And yeah, let's get started. So Austria, who in the group has been to Austria or who is familiar with Austrian wines? Anybody?
I have been to Austria.
I learned to ski in Austria.
What do they?
That's awesome. Where'd you go? Innsbruck? Were you in Innsbruck, Dan?
We were at a place called it's right next to Innsbruck. It was a little place. But I was a kid. We lived over in Luxembourg when I was a kid. My parents took us down to Austria one winter to learn how to ski.
Oh, that's cool. And Derek,
I wasn't drinking.
There 6 years.
No,
What's
no,
that?
yeah. Although they probably wouldn't have looked down upon it, in Europe.
Yeah, I don't think they would have. Yeah.
No, yeah. So we're going to learn a little bit about Austria today. And if you have any questions, feel free to join in and let me know what you want to learn. But without further ado, I want to get on with this. I've done enough talking already at this point, so I want to get to the drinking part. So I'm going to start with a little bit of information. Since we all seem to be kind of new to the region, I'm going to share my screen.
I should clean that screen.
I assume you guys can all see my screen.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So real quick, and I know I sound like a broken record because I say this all the time, but Austria, like many parts of Europe, was probably first populated by the Celts. So they were probably the first winemakers there, but the ones who documented it and the ones of any real significance would be the Romans. So in Roman times, this region was known as Pannonia. They referred to the sort of eastern plains that kind of are shared by the eastern side of Austria and the western side of Hungary. So this was during the Emperor Probus's time. And as with many parts of Europe, the Roman Catholic Church and monks were in charge of making the wine. They called it mess wine, which is mass wine, so just wine for the sacraments. And that is pretty common throughout most of Europe. So the Roman Catholic Church, you're going to find a lot of monasteries were established in the Middle Ages, and some of them still stand today. One of the largest is called Kloster Neuburg. Kloster Neuburg is a castle and a monastery that was responsible for making wine in the 1100s, and still exists and still stands today, and is actually the home to Austria's largest winemaking viticultural school. Wine was so prolific in this region that Vienna is actually named after wine. I never really thought about this before. I didn't know this, but in Austrian or German, Vienna is called Wien, W-I-E-N, which is a couple of letters away from the word wine. So Vienna was literally named after wine.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. I did not know that. So that was something fun to learn. So in the post-Napoleonic Austria, this is the time of the Habsburg Empire. Austria becomes a center for wine and winemaking. And this is when the viticultural school at Kloster Neuburg was first established. Unfortunately, Austria was set back quite a bit. First during World War I, during the end of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, when a lot of the region was divided up and it was no longer under the Habsburg Empire, and each one of these became individual countries. They took their own wine industries with them, so they kind of divided up the industry in this region. And of course, the second was World War II, where retreating Russian soldiers who were responsible for helping us defeat Hitler basically plundered and destroyed a lot of the vineyards in this region. Unfortunately, they kind of took that as their reward for helping to vanquish the Nazis and vanquish Hitler. They sort of took this as their payback or their payment by pretty much pilfering everything from all the different vineyards in this region and destroying them in their wake. So this is really interesting, something you may not have heard before, but in 1985, there was a really big scandal in the Austrian wine industry because they found about 3 or 4 very unscrupulous winemakers adding diethylene glycol, which is essentially antifreeze. One of the ingredients in antifreeze, they were adding it to their wines to make them more rich and have a lot more lush mouthfeel. And they got caught doing it, which pretty much ruined any progress that they had made in those 60 years after the Second World War, or 40 years, I guess, because it was 1985. So in those 40 years where they rebuilt the entire wine industry, they pretty much set themselves back and ruined everything for themselves by these 3 or 4 unscrupulous winemakers mixing essentially antifreeze into their wine. So for maybe 20 years, nobody wanted to touch Austrian wine. So it hasn't been until recent times that they've really had to kind of snap back and rebuild their industry and their reputation. So it's only in the last maybe 20 or 30 years that Austria has really come into its own. And in this time, they ripped up a lot of their old native vines, and this new white wine known as Grüner Veltiner, which we're going to be drinking tonight, comes onto the scene and actually does so well, it becomes, it creates a national reputation for Austria and becomes their national grape. So the first one that we're going to be drinking tonight, the white wine, is considered to be the national white grape or the national grape of Austria. So that's their flagship wine. Generally speaking, the takeaway here is that Austria is on the 48th parallel. So this is roughly the same as the border between the United States of America and Canada. So it's cool here. Certain parts of northern Washington are on the 48th parallel, and also Dijon in Burgundy. So this is a cool region. And the takeaway is that when you have a cool region, the wines tend to be lighter, more fresh, and more acidic. And I think that's what we're going to find tonight. In total, the modern wine industry encompasses about 113,000 acres, and they make about 66 million gallons a year, which seems like a lot of wine. But when you consider that countries like Italy and France make about 8 billion gallons of wine a year, yeah, this is paltry in comparison, but it's still significant, and they're becoming well known internationally, globally, for their wine and its quality. And hopefully we'll find that tonight. Any questions? Okay. All right. Why does this region work? What makes this region work? Well, there's 4 climatic phenomena that are responsible for making this a great place to grow grapes. We talked about Pannonia before. This was the Emperor Probus coined this term in the Roman times. And over here is the border between Hungary and Vienna. And this whole area is an elevated plain, a plateau. And this is known as the Pannonian Plateau. So there's a warm continental climate that blows in from the east. And right here where I'm boxing in, that is where all the vineyards are located in Vienna. And that's why, because it's warmer over on that side. We have temperate Atlantic climates that are coming in with moist air from the west, which makes practically this whole western side of Austria too humid to grow grapes. So that is why most of the vineyards exist on the eastern flank. Cool air from the north, number 3 up here. And this is what makes the northern part near Vienna the cooler region where most of the white grapes are grown. And then we have warm Mediterranean air coming up from the south. This is Italy down here, and this is the, is that the Aegean, I believe? So that would be the Aegean Sea right there, and there's warm Mediterranean air coming up from the south, which means that the southern regions down here are where you're going to see more of the red wine being produced. Okay, any questions? These are the wine-making regions of Austria. I'm going to zoom in real quick. As what I was saying, you can see most of the wine regions are on the eastern flank of the country. In the north, it's interesting, and I've yet to figure this out, why they call it Niederösterreich. Niederösterreich means Lower Austria. It's not Lower Austria, it's Northern Austria. But maybe it's elevation, I'm not exactly sure. So Niederösterreich, Nether Österreich means Lower Austria. This region up here in green is where most of the white wines are produced. this middle region here, this is known as the Burgenland. There's a New Siedler Sea, Lake New Siedler Sea right here. That influences some of the climate around the surrounding vineyards, but we also have that Pannonian, warm Pannonian climate coming in from the east, blowing into the west. And that makes this region here perfect for growing. It's a warmer climate, perfect for growing red grapes. And then down here in the south, this is where more of the experimental wineries are. And there's a lot of American and international grapes being grown here. A lot of Chardonnay, a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon and Burgundy grapes and varieties too. So this is the area known as Styria or Styria. And down here is where most of the more modern international styles of wine are being produced. So we're going to be drinking 3 wines from the Niederösterreich region up here in the middle, up in the north, excuse me, and then the Burgenland region in the center here. All right. And 3 grapes we're going to be drinking tonight. Grüner Veltiner. Grüner just simply means green in German or Austrian. So Grüner Veltiner, they theorize that this grape originally came from Valtellina, Italy, so the northern part of Italy, and it traveled its way into Austria over the Alps. So it moved by way of migrants, I guess, carrying the grape with them, and it moved from the northern part of Italy into Austria, and it found its home here, where it became Austria's national grape. So Grüner Veltliner means the green grape from Valtellina, Italy. That's Austria's most planted white grape. And as you're going to taste, or you may have already tasted in this wine, it's very light, it's acidic, and it's known for having a very curious flavor of pepper. I don't know if you guys are getting that on the wine yet, but we'll taste it later and we'll see. So usually white pepper, I'm not really adept enough to understand the difference between white pepper and black pepper, so maybe you guys can make that a little more clear. Help me out with that one too. Then we're going to be drinking a Zweigelt second. So this is the order that we're going in. Zweigelt is, I call it Austria's Pinot Noir. So I don't want to mislead anybody by saying Pinot Noir here, because it's not Pinot Noir. It's its own grape. It was invented by a man named Mr. Fritz Zweigelt. Actually, he was an ampelographer. He was a grape botanist. And he actually crossed 2 different types of grapes in 1922, and he came up with Zweigelt, which is his own particular grape. So it's the most planted red grape in Austria, and it's going to be very light and fruity and acidic. So that's why I say it's like Austria's Pinot Noir. You can actually see in the glass, it's very light and not very intense in color. You get strawberry, cranberry, sometimes herbs on it, and they very rarely use oak when it comes to Zweigelt, so it's not going to be an oaky wine. And lastly, we're going to be drinking a Blaufrankisch. Blaufrankisch, in the ancient times, the Austrians used to reserve the term Frankish for the best grapes that they suspected came from Frankenland, which was France at the time. So they think that this has French origins. And it's also grown extensively in Hungary too, where they call it Kek Frankos. If you've ever had a wine called Egri Dikever, which is bull's blood, that uses Kek Frankos in the wine. This is going to be a more full-bodied wine. I would say maybe this would be along the lines of a Zinfandel, if you wanted a comparison. You could get more dark berries and savory notes out of this. And sometimes, depending on the producer, they will put it in oak barrels. Okay, that's it. Anybody have any questions?
Just a quick comment, and to back up what you were saying earlier.
Yes.
Here's a bottle from last night. I can't see me, but can you see this bottle clearly?
Stift Klosterneuburg.
It's from Stift Klosterneuburg that you mentioned in the 1100s, and it's 2 local, you never heard of them, white grapes, Zinfandler and Rotgipfler.
Yeah, Zinfandler and Rotgipfler.
Rotgipfler.
We had it at a tasting and I really liked it, so we tracked it down a couple of years ago.
So you sought that out yourselves, and you guys like that so much that you seek that out and you drink that.
It's a very interesting
Plus
white
it's fun
wine.
names.
Plus it's fun names. Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot of, so I don't know if anybody here is versed in German or the Germanic languages, but Rot is red. Rot means red. But yeah, they have some really interesting grape varieties in Austria. We're tasting three. I don't want to say they're autochthonous or indigenous because we suspect that, like we were saying, Grüner Veltiner may have come from the northern part of Italy, and Blaufrankisch may be from somewhere in France, but they have been adopted by the Austrian people as being native. So essentially, at this point, Austria is the one place where you're going to find all of this. But they have some really interesting grapes there. Grüner Veltiner, Neuburger, Rotgipfler, Zierfandler, Bouvier, Scheurebe is another one. I had a Scheurebe from Pennsylvania a couple of years ago, which was really interesting. And Müller-Thurgau, and those are the whites. And then we have Blauburger, Blauer Portugieser. These are all red grapes too. Saint Laurent. Did anybody in the group get the Saint Laurent? No? Now, there was an alternate, for different states, depending on where your market was, I had to suggest a second slate of wines. And the second slate of wines had a Saint Laurent in it. Saint Laurent is another native grape to Austria, and it's one of the parents of Zweigelt. Something else I want to bring up before we start. So two people have been there before. Are you guys familiar with the Euriga system? You know what Euriga is?
No.
Is that the sugar level? I forget.
No. Euriga is a system of wine taverns that they have in Austria. So all throughout Austria, it is common for wineries to have a tavern attached to them, and they serve food and they serve wine made by them, by their own winemaker. By law, it has to be wine that they produce there in the Euriga. They also call them Buschenschank. Buschenschank is because they hung a pine branch above the roof or above the doorway of these places, which is a bush. So Buschenschank means bush house, essentially. So they have this system of Euriga or Buschenschank all over Austria, and you can get homemade wine there by the glass, and you can usually get bites or nibbles. Sometimes we'll even have like a bed and breakfast where you can stay overnight there too. I'll show you real quick what the Euriga look like. So this is a standard Euriga here. Really quaint, cute little places to go stop and have a glass of wine in the fall. So the etymology of the word Euriga means recent or new or relatively something young, something that happens this year, which means that they're serving the wine that they made this year. So typically they serve the half sweet, half fermented wine that they're making in the fall. So when you go there in the fall during the harvest season and during the winemaking season, they sell this half sweet, like sickeningly sticky sweet, like kind of like fermenting fizzy drink called Sturm. And that's what they serve at these Euriga. But you can see they're essentially wine taverns. And this is the pine branch that they hang above this. This was something from the 1700s. They used to have a man who was sort of like the tax man. And his job was to go to each one of these Euriga and verify the quality of the wine that was being served there. And if the wine was good and it was ready to drink, they would hang this pine bush above the door. So that's why they became known as Buschenschank. Okay, cool. All right. I know you're all thirsty, so let's get drinking. We're going to start with the Eichenberg Grüner Veltiner.
Can I see the bottle?
Did you guys notice? I'm sure you've all taken note of the Austrian flag on the neck and on the lids. Yes, this is known as the banderole. The banderole is actually a neckband that guarantees the quality of the wine, and the wines are not allowed to have them on there until they've been tested by a local consortium and vetted for their quality. So in Austria and also in Germany, there are different levels of quality. This is known as Qualitätswein. So Qualitätswein is the highest quality Austrian wine that you can have, and it's ranked by its quality level. And when it's Qualitätswein, it can have this banderole on the neck, which is the Austrian national flag. So we're going to start with the Eichenberg. from Niederösterreich. And Niederösterreich, once again, is the northern part of Austria, which strangely means Lower Austria.
Are you gonna?
Yeah, so-
If anybody can tell me why, I'd love to know. And some of you who are a little bit deeper into the wine parlance are familiar with the appellation system in France and in Spain, where they name the wines. There's laws that actually dictate how wines can be made and how they name them. In Austria, they have something called the DAC, Districtus Austria Controllatas, which is obviously Latin. So derives from the Roman times, but instead of appellations, or in America, we have American viticultural areas like Napa, Sonoma. In Austria, they have the DAC, Districtus Austria Controllatas. So each one of these regions that we are, for example, Niederösterreich, that is one of the DAC zones in Austria. Cool. So you'll see here, Grüner, the grape is green or white in wine parlance, and the wine actually has a little bit of a green tint to it.
They have a little bit more.
Really perfumed. I get apples and pears. I don't know what you guys are getting here. It's typically a very simple wine, and sometimes that pepper quality that I was telling you about can manifest itself almost as like a little prickle. It almost makes the wine feel like it's got a little bit of like a bubble to it. I don't know if you're getting that or not.
We noticed kind of a spiciness, and I think that was the pepper.
This one is a little higher in alcohol for a white wine. It's 13%. So for me, the alcohol is kind of poking out a little bit. I don't know if you guys are getting that or not, but definitely like lemon zest, apple, and pear, like Asian pear. And this is the kind of wine that you want to drink really well chilled. It's nice and refreshing like that. It's not a very sophisticated wine, and it's not meant to be. So this is something, if you go to Austria in the summertime, they pour this by the bucket loads at all the local cafes. Yeah, and it goes down easy, and it feels good.
It does go down easy.
Yeah, and I mean, for those of you who, I guess everybody here in the room, do you all have this one?
We do, yeah.
Okay, so we only paid like $13 or $14 for it.
It was like $10.
Yeah. So, sometimes I feel a little off or a little bad about suggesting wines for our tastings for, $10, but it's not about the price. There are just certain wines. The production is so high, the quality is so high that they don't need to charge a lot of money for these. So it's like Italian white wines too. Italian white wines, you'd be hard pressed to find anything over $15. So sometimes I feel a little like people are going to have a problem with me suggesting cheap wines for these tastings, but there is no real expensive Grüner Veltiner, is what I'm trying to say.
Marc,
there is some really high quality stuff in the Comtal and the Wachau region that can get up to $30 and $40 a bottle, single vineyard stuff.
Yes, you are correct.
I mean, it's it's
Those,
rare. It's rare.
I would call those the exceptions, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Marc, Gruner's great with schnitzel.
Are you eating schnitzel now?
No, but in the past.
Yes,
Marc,
this is great. Yes.
Did you mention anything about Riesling in Austria? I heard that's a very popular grape over there too, but I've never had it.
Yes, Riesling is the third most planted grape in Austria, and right behind number 2, which is called Müller-Thurgau. I don't know if you've ever heard of Müller-Thurgau before. So Müller-Thurgau is another hybrid grape that was created in the 20s, basically in a lab by a botanist, because a lot of these winemakers in the wine making regions, like cooler winemaking regions like Austria, were looking for something that was a little bit more cold hardy. So a lot of these botanists would cross-pollinate grapes until they found something that would stand up to the cold weather better. So Müller-Thurgau is another hybrid grape that is doing very well over there. So that is the number 2 grape, and number 3 in Austria is Riesling. So yes, they do make very good Riesling, but Germany kind of has the they have the patent on the best in the world, I would say. But Austria is also very well known for its sweet wines. Something I should mention too. So they do a lot of late harvest and ice wine in Austria, and that was originally what they were really well known before this revolution in the 1980s and 1990s. After the glycol scandal, they were known for their sweet wines. So, what do you think of the Grüner Veltiner?
Delicious.
We really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And Mark, I'm your oaky Chardonnay gal. I don't like anything but that, but this is really good.
This is nice, and for $10 or $12 a bottle, it's
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is a buy it by the case and keep it in your basement for the summer kind of wine. Yeah.
100%.
Yep. And so acidic and so bracingly clean. Great with fatty foods. So once again, one of the reasons why I recommended pairing it up with the goat cheese and the honey and the lemon juice, that would be perfect partnership. You want to, I would even almost say it would probably be good with lobster. Just like a nice poached lobster with some drawn butter. You get a lot of that fat, you get a lot of that richness, and this would kind of almost serve the purpose of like a lemon, where it's providing the acidity to cut through all of that. It's a really nice wine, and once people drink it and they realize like you don't have to spend a lot of money on this to get a really nice quality Grüner Veltliner. Do you guys know what Grüner Veltliner's nickname is?
Nope.
GV.
You're close. You're actually close. Groovy.
Groovy.
Yeah. So that's the sort of the marketing sell for people who don't because here in the United States it's a little bit of a tongue twister. For people who are used to drinking Chardonnay or Pinot Grigio, Grüner Veltliner doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. So their little marketing thing that they sell to English speaking types like us is they call it groovy.
That's not a groovy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's cute. I like it. It's a cute little name. What would you pair with this? Aside from schnitzel.
Well, we took your advice and got the olive tapenade. It's really good. And then Ithaca hummus has a lemon dill. That's really good.
Yes, I like that one. I know which one. That's the one that comes in the square container, right?
Yeah.
Do you get that, Johnny?
Yeah.
Good with the shrimp and the goat cheese. That's what I got.
Ooh. Is that the one that I did a couple weeks ago, or did you do your own? Recipe?
Oh no, I just actually got one that they had made at the store because I was going lazy.
Okay. Yeah, we're all pressed for time, so I usually try to provide something that's fairly easy that everybody can get. I would say this is one of the rare wines that I think would pair well with asparagus. Asparagus is really hard to pair with wine. So that, and also marinated artichokes.
And this is just the end of asparagus season in Europe. You can we were there a couple of weeks ago, and we can still get white and green asparagus.
I eat spargel every chance I get.
They call it spargel. They call it spargel in German.
What's that? Oh, spargel is
Spargel. It's asparagus.
Asparagus. Oh, well,
And
thank
you
you for
get it
teaching.
white with the hollandaise sauce, and they'll either have ham with it or plain or boiled potato. You can get it a million ways.
Oh man, the hollandaise sauce would be great for providing some counterbalance, like the fat, to go with this acidic wine.
Absolutely, it's great. We had a lot of it with Grüner Veltiner.
Do you guys almost get like it's not? I don't think it's really there, but do you get the impression of kind of like a little prickle, like a sparkle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
I definitely got that after you pointed it out, Mark. Thanks.
Yeah. The it's just so bracingly acidic that it almost feels prickly. It feels like it's got a little bit of a bubble in it, which is it's a little optical illusion, or not optical. What's the word? Oral illusion. Okay. I'm a fan. I love Grüner Veltiner. We were in Austria probably about 5 years ago, and um, they love serving it there, and I love drinking it. And even on a cold winter's day, after skiing on the slopes in Innsbruck, it still hits the spot. Let's move to the Zweigelt next. Okay, so we're going to go to this Schloss Kellerei, Gobelsberg, Zweigelt. And this is a 2021, so this is 4 years old now.
I think it's the other one.
Yeah, this is the one with the picture of the castle on the front of it. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who don't know, Schloss in German just means a castle or sort of like a stately home. So that's what a Schloss is. And a Kellerei is a cellar. So this would mean like the estate cellar or like the castle cellar, essentially. So Schloss Kellerei, you'll see that on almost, you'll see it on a lot of labels. So Schloss Kellerei just means like the castle cellar. Gobelsberg is the region that it comes from. So Gobelsberg would be that DAC, that District of Austria Controllatas that we were talking about. And this is also in the north.
Yes, that whole region is right on the Danube River, or up or down from the Danube.
I heard that.
And it's beautiful. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous country.
Have you guys done a cruise there?
We just did. Recently, we sailed by. We went to Melk Abbey and sailed by on the way to Vienna.
But 6 years ago, we spent like 4 or 5 nights in the Wachau.
16 photos over there.
It was great.
What time of the year did you go?
May, because it was our anniversary.
Yeah, I love the area. Probably 10 years ago, we did a road trip. Michelle and I rented a car and we went through like 5 different countries. So I think we did most of Bavaria. We did Germany, Austria. We did Liechtenstein. Have you guys been to Liechtenstein?
No. But we hit the Český Krumlov, which is
southern
Czech. It's on the way. It's the same other side of the mountains of the Valais.
Yeah, I love that region. Oh my God, it is breathtakingly beautiful. It's just like, it looks like you're driving through the sound of music everywhere you go. It's just that beautiful, but in 3D, or it's like in real life. It's unbelievable. So for those of you who have not been, I encourage you to go.
I wish I started traveling when I was younger.
Okay, so Zweigelt, like I was saying, this is sort of a hybrid grape that was created in the year 1922 by a Dr. Fritz Zweigelt. And he crossed 2 Austrian grapes, Saint Laurent, which we talked about, and the other one that we have today, Blaufrankisch. So he took those 2, cross-pollinated them, and he came up with a 3rd grape that never existed before. And he decided to call it Rotberger. As you can see, Rotberger did not sell very well in the anglicized regions of the world. So they decided to change the name. They called it Zweigelt after his name. So this is now the #1 red grape in Austria. And like I said, I compare it to Pinot Noir, and maybe you'll see why once you taste it. Really beautiful cherry and berry nose on there. I mean, just really pretty.
Oh. Ooh.
Very light. There's a little bit of a tartness on there, kind of like cranberry, like unsweetened,
like candy kind of thing.
Yeah. Like Jolly Rancher, or maybe like a fruit leather, like fruit roll up.
Yeah.
And even a little licorice, maybe. I don't know if you guys are getting that, but there's something herbaceous in there, and it's either like fennel or anise or licorice.
Mark, would you try this one with a slight chill on it? Like it almost seems like it could be like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely.
Like it should be chilled a little bit.
As a matter of fact, I was supposed to do a wine tasting locally on Friday. They canceled it because we had the storms hit here. We were out of power. But the theme of that tasting was going to be red wines you can chill for the summer. And we were serving as Zweigelt. Zweigelt was on the menu. So yes. And I learned that when I was in Greece, when we were in Santorini, they chill their red wines a little bit, and it's actually quite nice. So that's where I started doing it, and I do it now. In the summertime, I usually put them in the refrigerator for maybe 20 minutes or so.
When I first smelled it, it doesn't smell so good. So
Somebody didn't like the nose on there?
It's a little funky.
Yeah, you know what? That is a good observation. There's a little bit of a funk on there.
Yeah, a little bit. But,
Yeah, it's just like kind of like a stink.
but sometimes Pinot Noir will have that too. Like we've had a
Yes.
Pinot Noir that's very barnyard, like funky. Yeah.
Yes, I tend to like those wines. Sometimes it needs to be explained. And some people just don't like them, and that's okay. But yeah,
It's not overwhelming. It's just a little bit to me.
no, that's a good catch. I didn't catch that. That's a good observation. But you can see very acidic and very bright and light. So once again, this would be great for fatty foods. I think this would be sort of like your foie gras wine. You could probably have this with a nice foie gras or kind of pate or a terrine, rabbit terrine, something a little more fatty and something with herbs in it. Rabbit terrine with sage.
Mark, do you know, does this grape, is it like does it have a short growing season? Do they harvest it early?
It has a longer season because it's cool. So they usually, in cooler regions, they have to give it longer hang time. So they have to leave it on the vine for a longer period of time for it to ripen properly. Why do you ask?
Curious.
Yeah.
Well, the amount of fruit on it and the I don't know, I'm just trying to figure it out.
So are you having difficulty parsing like flavors in it at all, or?
No, I mean I get the red zin. I mean there's a lot of fruit on it.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick up on what Susan was talking about. I don't taste any kind of earthiness to it, and I almost wish I did.
I think it's more on the nose for me. So I smell it more than I taste it. But yeah, it's a little bit of a.
Right. I definitely get the Pinot thing going on. It has the kind of the suppleness in the mouthfeel of that, but
yeah,
it's good. I like it.
Yeah, it's a pleasant wine, and you can find these for relatively affordable prices too. Some of them can get up there though, because it does age well. There are some older examples that you're going to pay $40, $50 a bottle for. But this is fairly indicative of what you're going to find from Austrian Zweigelt. Got a little bit of a tannic grip to it too on the finish, which means that it would be good for food, especially proteins. I would probably have it with some smoked Gouda. Actually, I have food right here. What am I doing? I have these giant fava beans. I don't know if anybody's ever had those before. They call them gigantes in Italy. But those would be perfect for something like this. Yeah, that's delicious.
Wow.
Would this be a good Thanksgiving wine?
I think so. Pinot Noir works well with Thanksgiving. So I think this would be one of my go-tos too. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts about this wine? Did you like it?
We decided. Oh, sorry.
No,
we decided it's not a sipping wine. This is a food wine.
Yes,
that's a great point. Yeah, when I first tried it, I didn't like it, but it's growing on me.
Okay.
Mark, this one reminds us a little bit of the Hopper Pot Pinot Noir that we had in another tasting, the South African one. Like it kind of is similar.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that was a really interesting wine. I think that one had a little bit of that funkiness in it too, if I remember correctly. Because I remember,
Yeah.
yeah, Rob, who is not here with us,
This was some sort.
loved that wine.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure they have this in the finger.
Cool.
Can you see? Can you in America, or is anybody growing this grape that you know of?
No, that's a good question. Somebody should look that up. I'm sure there probably is. There's probably one or two winemakers.
Well, Susan thought she might have had it in the Finger Lakes, that we might have had it in the Finger Lakes, but
It's possible.
no.
Have I ever seen Zweigelt in the Finger Lakes? I mean, I know
It might have been that other grape, the came from Greece.
Saperavi.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Saperavi is really gaining a stronghold in the Finger Lakes. Saperavi is a Hungarian grape, and it was originally brought there by Dr. Konstantin Frank, who really has a very strong presence in that area. He essentially was the guy who built that entire industry in the Finger Lakes there. Yeah, but that's becoming their new homeboy now, or homegirl, is the Saperavi grape. So they're finding that it actually performs better than any of the other red grapes, than like Pinot Noir or Cabernet Franc. So I think they even just started doing a Saperavi festival up there every year. So they're really trying to make the Saperavi thing happen in the Finger Lakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be their signature red to go with the Riesling.
Yeah. So we would, somebody can look that up if they want to. I don't know if there are any people in are you talking about just maybe the United States, or are you talking about anywhere?
Well, anywhere, I guess, but I was just curious if anywhere, and if they're growing anywhere in the United
Yeah,
States.
I'll look it up. I thought Gale and Glen had one. I mean, I know you're familiar with this area.
Yeah.
I thought Gale and Glen had one, or they had a Zweigelt rosé that we tasted. I know that. I think I can look it up, but
it's been a while since I've been up there.
Right.
I think are they selling that place?
I didn't think they were. No, but I could be wrong about that. I hope not.
You can find Zweigelt in Central Europe, Prague, where else?
I drank it all through because I'm not a beer drinker. Prague, Bratislava, Budapest, it's everywhere there. But
okay,
for a red,
where you might find it under its original name, Rotberger. So yeah, for obvious reasons, that did not work in the United States. Yeah, Rotberger is not a good marketing name. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, cool. Elizabeth, that's a great observation. I'm glad I could show you something here with the Grüner Veltiner. Yeah, it's definitely a great replacement for Pinot Grigio.
I agree. Even Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing too. It's got a little bit of that kind of like funkiness, or like that sort of like sourness that like Sauvignon Blanc can have from time to time. Yeah, cool. Okay, would you like to move to the Blaufrankisch next? Let's do it.
Let me get some glasses.
So this is made by a woman named Heidi Schrock. And if you know German at all, Sohn und Sohn means and sons. So Heidi Schrock and her two sons are making this. And this is coming from the Burgenland region, which is that middle region where I was saying the warmer climate and the warmer winds are blowing off of the Panonian, oh God, I can't pronounce it, Pannonia, the plains there. So yes, you're getting warmer climates there, which is more conducive to growing red grapes. So this would be from Burgenland. Blaufrankisch. Blaufrankisch, yeah. There's an umlaut over the A, so I guess that's you, Derek. I think your pronunciation is probably better than mine was.
Yes.
Blaufrankisch. My next door neighbor is German. Should be correcting me right now. So this is the mother and sons producing this. They've been making it since the 1980s, but they claim that the heritage of the winery goes back for thousands of years. Which I guess if they're stretching it, using the marketing acumen to kind of like tout the winery, yeah, pretty much all of Europe is thousands of years old. So they're a very small production. It's Heidi, Jörg, and Johannes, her two sons that produce these wines. And they're only 30 acres, which is relatively small. This is known as Lemberger. You guys may have had a Lemberger wine before, some of you in that region. And it's also called Kikfrankos in Hungary. And this is produced on the slopes of the Lake Neusiedlersee. So we showed that little lake there to the very far east called Lake Neusiedlersee. This is produced on the slopes of that. So it's going to get some of that, what we call heat sink influence, where lakes, like the Finger Lakes, for example, they absorb the heat from the sun in the summertime, and they hold it as a heat mass, and then they radiate it back out during the winter, which keeps the areas around the lake actually warmer than the rest of the region, which makes them great for growing grapes. And that's what makes the Finger Lakes perfect for growing grapes too. You get that thermal mass where the lake is holding on to the heat from the summertime, radiating it out during the winter months, keeping that area warmer. Ooh, and this one, definitely more dark fruit in there. I think this one's got some blueberry. I always call it rhubarb, for lack of better. It's like rhubarb strawberry pie to me. And there might be a little oak in here as well, getting some toasty notes and a little spice. What about you guys?
Yeah, it's definitely spicy. Pepper, spice, something spice.
It's a little more tannic. In that case, I think it would be great with food too. I would, we were talking about similarities. Like this, to me, would be a little bit more similar to a Zinfandel. And Zinfandel, to me, is a great pepperoni pizza wine. I really enjoy it with sausage, cured sausages, and also just like a nice bowl of chili. That's where I would put this wine for food pairings. Nice, dark, kind of like brooding flavor. 13.5% alcohol, so it's got a little more heat to it, a little bit more of a burn. I'm getting it on the back end. After you finish the wine, you can kind of feel there's a little heat coming out. But that's, oh yeah, there you go. Elizabeth. Yeah, getting the flavors of the cranberry and the Zweigelt. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit of time after you open the wines up for those flavors to develop and to kind of come out of the glass too. So when you open the bottle up, sometimes it gets a little stuck. You got to pour it out into a glass and let it sit for a little bit for it to really come out. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on this one?
I like it. It's good. I made the sausage pizza for this one.
Sausage pizza. Interesting.
Yeah,
the sausage lovers pizza. Yeah,
it's a light wine. I don't. It's not like a Cabernet. I can see the Zinfandel comparison.
Yeah, it's not not the body or the intensity of a Cabernet or a Merlot. It's somewhere in between. But definitely heavier and richer than like a Pinot Noir. Yeah.
I like that much better.
It gave me a red wine hot flash.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know what that is.
And Blaufrankisch is one of the grapes in Zweigelt?
Blaufrankisch is one of the parents.
Yeah, the parents.
Yes. Yeah, Blaufrankisch and Saint Laurent, which is another one of the wines that we had on the list of wines to choose from for this tasting. Saint Laurent tends to run a little bit more expensive. So I think we had a Saint Laurent on the list and it was like $42 for the bottle. But yeah, this guy, Fritz Zweigelt, in the 20s, crossed the the Saint Laurent and the Blaufrankisch grape together, and he came up with Zweigelt. Yeah.
Actually, I was reading not too long ago that actually Dr. Zweigelt was a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some effort to rename that grape just because they didn't want to name a grape after a Nazi. But
yeah, you know what? That's good history there, Dan. Thanks for bringing that up. I actually forgot about that, but I did read that recently, and yes, you are right. They wanted to kind of like erase a little bit of that because, yeah, he was SS, I think, or he was like a sympathizer of some kind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't change the enjoyment of the grape itself, though, or the wine itself. Yeah.
That's nice.
This is definitely better than the other one.
Yeah, I like this. I like this better than the second one.
Zweigelt.
Yeah.
I agree.
For what reasons?
I think for me, like the Pinot thing, I like a little bit of a jammier Pinot.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was just a little bit too, it's weird to say, but it's almost like too sharp.
It was very harsh
Yeah.
to me. It was very harsh.
Okay, interesting.
Bitey, almost.
Bitey?
Kind of, yeah, just really, it just didn't go down easy, I guess. I don't know how else to phrase it. It just didn't appeal to me.
I didn't mind it, but I have to say that it was definitely different from every other wine I've ever tried. I couldn't relate it. I couldn't say this seems like a Pinot or this seems like something else. It's definitely on its own.
Yeah. Well, try it with some food when we're done here. See if it changes for you. Sometimes that's the magic that needs to happen. Happens in the food pairings.
In that whole region, Central Europe, let's call it, these are the two go-to red wines if you want red wine.
Yes, you're going to see these everywhere. Blaufrankisch especially has a really large presence all over the place. I was in Poland a couple of years ago, and even in Poland, you're going to find it there.
Right, exactly. Everywhere.
Everywhere in Central Europe. Really beautiful.
Of course, that said, they don't drink a lot of wine in Central Europe. They drink beer.
Yeah. Yeah, this is why Austria is kind of an exception, because in the Bavarian region, mostly it's beer. But, in Austria, you have that tradition of those Oiriga, those wine taverns, which is really unique. So it's been there for a while. It just doesn't. It's interesting, and I hope I don't rub anybody the wrong way by saying this, but in a lot of the European countries I go to, men drink beer and women drink wine. That's an observation. Yeah. Does anybody else agree with that or disagree with that?
We agree with it for sure.
Yeah.
The chant. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't like beer, and beer doesn't like me, so I'm having wine no matter what.
But it was typical for sure in southern Germany, Austria, Central Europe. If you saw wine, it was more often than not a woman drinking.
Yes, yeah, I would love to know what that is, and I don't know if it's tradition or misogyny or whatever you want to. I don't know what it is, but yeah, it seems to be an observation that I notice wherever you go. But when I was in Ireland, in Scotland, men drink whiskey and the women drink wine. So if you go into the taverns in Scotland or Ireland, the men will typically have a stout and a glass of whiskey, and the women will have a glass of white wine.
So maybe the women are smarter.
Good answer. Good answer.
Glenn, you pulled yourself out of that one, man. Yeah, well, that's probably why they live longer too. Yeah, they don't beat themselves up quite the same way men do.
I just think it needs to be.
Mark, which of those red wines would you most likely drink? Would it depend on what food you're having?
Of the two that we have here tonight?
Yeah, the Zweigelt or the.
I'm partial. I have a little bit of a thing for Zweigelt, and I know this one's kind of drawing mixed emotions, but I like it, and I would do this one like Sarah or somebody from Sarah's group over there was saying. I'd drink it slightly chilled.
Yeah, I think it just needs to be chilled a bit.
Yeah, Yeah, where I'm at right now.
Mine, it was good.
I'm sorry.
I chilled mine and it was good because I think you had, I don't know why, but maybe it was your email, but it seemed like it was Pinot Noir like. So I served it slightly chilled, which I normally wouldn't do with the bigger reds.
Yeah. Yeah, I like my lighter reds a little bit chilled like that. We were in Santorini. We were drinking a red wine there called Mavro Tragano. And Mavro Tragano was typically served cold, which was nice. So yeah, that's where I kind of picked up on that habit. So yes, lighter red wines I chill sometimes, especially this time of year. Perfect with a nice grilled steak, grilled pork or chicken. Well, this is cool. I'm really glad that we got the chance to try something different for a change here. And
100%.
Yeah, what do you think? What do you guys think of Austria?
It's actually surprisingly good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think it wouldn't be?
I didn't know. I've never really had any Austrian wine, and the white wine, I could drink that all summer, and I'm not even a white wine guy. I could drink them all, actually.
Yeah.
And if it's not too early, I'd like to put my vote in for next month for the red wines you can chill.
Okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. I was going to ask, definitely. I want to see where you guys are at and where we want to go next. We can, so that would definitely include some Greek wines.
Maybe.
We were in Dayton, Ohio the last weekend of the month.
Yeah.
We're going to Dayton.
I love
Yeah.
Do we have,
She lives in Dayton.
do we have any New Jersey people in the group here today?
Former New Jersey.
Yeah, so I'm thinking that might be a problem. Yeah, with wine.com, because wine.com has a different warehouse in New Jersey. So I think some of our New Jersey people didn't participate on this one because they couldn't get the same wines. So I'm going to have to figure out a way around this to propose probably a list of things we can pick from, depending on what state you're in. What do you guys think? Do you have any ideas or suggestions on that?
If New Jersey is the least common denominator, can we all get New Jersey wines? They just can't get some of the wines we can get?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
So just pick the wines that people in New Jersey
New Jersey can get.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, so I'll do it that way, and we'll see how it works this time around. Yeah, because I don't want to exclude our group. We were probably 20 strong at one point in time, and I think a couple people peeled off. I don't know if it was a WTSO thing or if it was just they were having difficulty with the wine.com thing. But I want to try to make this as seamless as possible because I know how frustrating it can be ordering wine sometimes. And, you get it one or two steps in and you want to leave. So I don't want anybody to leave.
Mark, do you know what date will be? Are we going to stay with Sunday or go Thursday?
Well, yeah, that's the other question I guess I have is how do you feel about the Sunday versus Thursday that we used to do?
I think we're good with Sunday.
Yeah,
This worked out well.
Anybody else? And don't be afraid to speak up.
No,
I'm great with Sunday. I prefer Sunday over Thursday.
Okay,
We're
cool.
retired. Doesn't matter for us.
Now you're showing off.
Maybe when football season starts, it'll change.
That's a fair point too.
What's that?
You start playing.
Football season.
I said when football season
Right.
Yes, yeah, because I got my Eagles hat on here. I'm not going to miss the Eagles season. Yeah, go Birds, go Phils. Although last night's game was a travesty. They got
we just get stuck on the night before with the sliders.
Oh my God, that was amazing. My wife is a diehard fan. She loved watching. What was it, Real Muto and Castellanos? Like they were like sliding in.
That was epic. That was.
They were practically on top of each other.
That was amazing.
They're a great team. I think they're going to go all the way this year. I think there's something about their bullpen they need to work out, and I think they need to work. Yeah, I think we got to get Marsh hitting, and we got to get what's his face hitting more.
Yeah. We got to get Harper healthy.
Harper, yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
we stopped taking the classes, Mark, with you when you went to the wines to sold out because you had to be a club member to take them. Am I correct about that?
Yeah, because we were doing them for about 2 or 3 years during the pandemic, where it was an elective thing, and you could choose to be there or not. And then they made that go away, and they started the Premium Wine Club.
Right.
And, I don't know if it was a logistics thing at the time, but they started to repeat themselves a lot. So we were getting a lot of like Brunello di Montalcino, or we were getting a lot of Sonoma Pinot Noirs. There was a couple of repeats there that I think people were kind of getting a little bored with and a little tired with, but they didn't want to really say.
Mhm.
So yeah, like I said, they were good to me when it was good while it was good, and then something just happened. I have no idea. I still did not get an explanation to this day, whatever happened. So
But
who knows?
yeah, we didn't want to be part of the wine club.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I mean,
we stopped taking classes with you, and we just looked elsewhere for classes. So this sounds like you're going to be doing it more independently this way.
well, yeah. I mean, I've been doing it since January independently.
Okay, this is the first time we joined in.
Yeah. They gave me the news in November that it was ending in December, and they basically threw me under the bus and said, "It's kind of up to you to tell everybody." And then come like January 1st, they literally stopped talking to me and they wouldn't answer my emails or anything. So I don't know what happened.
You're still doing what you do.
Yes, I'm glad you guys are still here too. So let's keep this going, man. Let's make it happen. I really value the time that we spend together. I love these conversations. I love talking to you guys and drinking the wine.
All about the wine.
Yeah. So let's do our poll. So surprise. Which wine surprised you tonight?
I think for me it was a Grüner Veltiner.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think the Blaufrankisch was for me, but
That's fine. I like Lemberger.
They're even referring to it as Lemberger.
Yeah, I like that's usually what I like. Like I purchase it that way.
Yeah. They stopped calling it that in the American market too because of the cheese.
I can see that.
Yeah, so yeah, Rotberger and Lemberger, yeah, not an easy sell in the United States. Okay, I think that's it. So the Zweigelt. Zweigelt was the pleasant surprise. Interesting. I thought it would be the Gruner.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do one more. And this will be the obvious. Which one was your favorite?
Oh my.
I think I know which one this is going to be.
Yeah, I just think that people who are stuck on the same
I
old
could
white wine.
I could drink that by the gallon, the gallons.
It's a lot of
Oh my God, that's so good.
What's that? The Gruner?
Yeah.
Yes, it's amazing.
I have a lot of girlfriends who do drink just their same thing all the time. So they're pleasantly surprised when I can bring something new to them, and they're like, "Oh, I never even heard of this or knew about this."
It's so interesting because I mean, I never wasn't familiar with Grüner Veltiner until we visited Gale and Glen in Pennsylvania, and that for the most part was all I was familiar with that grape. So it's nice to have it from
the region.
From the region.
Well, you're going to love this. I got some good news for you. It's such a cheap, affordable wine that most of the time you're going to find it in a 1.5 liter. So, yeah, in Pennsylvania where I am, at the state stores, they have 1.5 liters for like $15. So you get the big bottle, and it's good.
Sounds like a deal.
Yeah.
Well, that's where we are in Lancaster, so.
Yeah.
I love it up where you guys are. We have family in Lidditz too. We also have family in Birdsboro. Cool. So yeah, the Grüner Veltliner was sort of like the favorite tonight, and the standout or the surprise was the Zweigelt. But I think they're, like all wines, they're all good for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
They all have their place, and they all have different uses and applications depending on what food you pair them with or what company you pair them with too.
Hey, Mark, just on an unrelated note, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
We're going to Paso Robles in August. Is there a winery? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
You would, or anybody else would recommend?
There's two. I think one is called Eroica, and the other one is Bonnie Doon. Bonnie Doon is an institution there because Randall Graham is the guy who pretty much started the entire movement for bringing Rhone style grapes to that region in the 1980s and 1990s. So Bonnie Doon is a little bit quirky. They're a little bit, they have some cheap wine. So I think a lot of people think that's all they make is cheap wine, but they actually have some really nice stuff too. So yeah, Bonnie Doon would be one to recommend.
Cobblers Creek.
Oh yeah,
Cobblers Creek.
That's on our map. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We were looking at Dow.
Yeah, you definitely go to Dow if you can.
Okay.
It just sold for $1 billion.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
It's been a while, but
Well, okay, not just a couple years ago.
Okay.
And there's a big difference between which east or west of the freeway of the interstate.
Okay.
It's much warmer east inland on the interstate, so you're going to get a lot more like bigger wines, heavier wines, cabs, etc., like that.
Okay.
And there's a new one recently that we covered with WTSO, which is called Levo, Levo.
Oh yeah, right.
They were really good.
They were really good. They make like micro lots that are small in production, and they're so small that they run out and you can't get them. So once again, WTSO got their hands on some limited runs, but they had some really, really beautiful micro batches or micro lots of Syrah. And I think they had a Petite Syrah too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they were really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think they're so exclusive, they might be appointment only. So make sure you look them up and see if they do appointments.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, Paso Robles is a beautiful region.
Yes.
I'm excited to.
Justin has a nice restaurant too.
And good wines. Justin.
Okay. Yeah, I know that's a popular one that comes up.
Yeah, they have their isosceles, I think, is a really beautiful blend that they make. It's a little expensive.
But their guy, Joe Spellman, he comes out every year to the Santa Fe Wine and Chili Fiesta. So they always have Justin for that.
What time of year are you guys going?
August. We're going in August.
Woo-wee.
I know it's gonna be hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a school teacher, so that's about it. That's about the only time we get to go places. So
yeah. Okay, understood. Yeah. Well, you'll have fun. It's beautiful down there.
We're excited. Definitely excited.
It's a great place. It's a great place to visit because it's not really, really, really big. The downtown area is great. And literally, there's lots and lots of wineries that you can just pop in on if you want to.
Yeah, we had watched a documentary on the Tin City. And that's what really kind of turned us on to that area to go explore because it's a lot of younger producers in that. So
we like rooms open.
So we're gonna check that out one night too. But so yeah.
Oh, Sarah, Jack, and Trish, they all had a good idea too. Volcanic wines. That'd be a great theme.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Fun. That would be fun.
Sicily.
Yeah. Sicily predominantly. Some parts of Greece are volcanic as well. There are some parts of the Napa Valley in the southern end of Napa Valley, close to the San Pablo Bay, that are volcanic soil as well. And
Willamette too.
Willamette as well, yes. And then I don't know if we can get any Canary Islands, but Canary Islands.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I doubt we're going to get any Canary Island wines.
The Canary Islands wines.
Yeah.
So, Mark, any updates on the cruise next year?
Yes, I am speaking with, once I get my phone line back tomorrow, I'll be speaking, we'll be solidifying that, but it looks like we're going to be doing 2 excursions. So one will be in Sardinia and one will be in either the Cinque Terre or Rome, I think. for wine. So we're going to go to wineries there. Yep.
Cool.
And it looks like they're going to be later in the week, so closer to the end of the thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you're planning on like doing some excursions around that, you could probably do them earlier in the week. And yeah, I'll get you the dates as soon as possible because I know another one of the couples that are attending the cruise too want to know what the schedule is so that they can plan other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do 2 onboard tastings. So we'll have a private dinner, and they are kind of partnered up with wine enthusiasts on Oceania. So I think we're going to do one in the wine enthusiast tasting room too. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I'm leading a wine cruise next April, and it starts out in Barcelona and it goes through 7 different ports, I believe. And it's going to be in Sardinia, Corsica, Italy, southern France, and it's going to end up in Rome too. So I'd love to have you join us.
Yeah. Because we're not really cruise people, but we wanted to try an ocean cruise, so we figured we'd try it with you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the vote of confidence, and I'm really looking forward to it and having you guys on board and meeting you in person for the first time. So,
That's true. Yeah, right.
yeah, after all this time.
After all this
So that would
time.
be really cool. Really looking forward to it. I will probably do, I don't want to do the hard sales pitch or anything like that, but for any of you who are interested in doing the cruise, I'll probably do like a little happy hour where we can join, like you bring your own wine and we'll do a Zoom tasting like this. And we can talk about all the details.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So for those who are already on board or for those who are curious about joining us, we'll be able to answer all your questions. Cool. All right. Did we talk about Greece or Croatia? Yes, we did, Justin. Greece, I think, would be easier to get. Croatia, I was looking at the Croatian selection last time on wine.com, and I think there were probably about like a total of 6 bottles in total, which means that it could be harder for everybody in the group to get. So I'm thinking if we had to choose between the two, Greece would probably be a little easier to start with.
I love Greek wine.
Oh, yeah, Elizabeth, let me know. I can email you with information about the cruise.
Do you want flies? Flying.
Just swore she worked for him.
Did somebody have a question? Justin? No? Okay, cool. All righty. This was wonderful. I had a lot of fun, as always. Thank you for accommodating me while I'm working around my situation here. Yeah, they're in the back. Our friends are back there. We're probably going to have some pizza, and we're charging up all of our phone and our electronics and everything like that right now. Yeah, 4 days without power, man. It gets to be a little tiresome, especially when it's hot outside like that, too.
Right.
Yeah. So we're praying the power comes back on tonight, and we'll be okay. For those of you on the East Coast, stay cool tomorrow. It's going to be like 108 degrees with the heat index here in Pennsylvania. So, yeah, keep cool. Hydrate well. Drink your wine, but that's not, yeah, don't hydrate with the wine.
Thanks again, Mark.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Oh, yes. One last thing, too. These are being recorded for those of you who want to go back. I think there was one group here who ordered the wines at the last minute, and they won't be getting them until tomorrow. So for those of you who don't have your wines and want to come back and revisit this, I will be posting the recording.
Yeah, that sucks, Mark. Thanks for having that video. So looking forward to drinking the wines, but it's not until tomorrow.
Thank you guys so much I'm sorry about that. I should have gotten on
No
that
problem.
sooner. But yeah.
It's not your fault.
No, but enjoy the wines and let me know if there's anything I can do to help.
Will do.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.
Have a good night, everybody.
Okay, I'll see you guys soon.
Bye.